a one-off version of the Joker.
Yeah.
They did do some fan service throwing in the nod to Heath Ledger. Have no idea where they potentially want to go with that. I can see a lot of people getting mad at that as well. I loved it because Dark Knight, not only was it a great performance by Heath Ledger, it was at a time when I was really getting into movies. I was working at the movie theaters, and it was kind of one of the first movies that I seen that, like, oh my God, like, this is great. And I didn't even see the first Batman. Like,
wow.
Any, like, you know, double movies, trilogies, all that. Yeah, I don't. Sequels, I tend to not see the first movie a lot of times, I guess. I don't know.
That's bizarre.
It's hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah, that is kind of hilarious. That's bizarre.
Just since we're on topic of me not seeing Joker.
Wow, you really do need to see
And then when I see the
yeah.
first Batman, I was like, oh, this is terrible compared to Dark Knight.
Well, you know. Okay, so exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, so our podcast is also going to be about not just talking about everything under the sun. We will also have a Birds and the Bees section.
Actually, can you give out our email for that, Birds and the Bees section?
The Birds and the Bees section.
We would love to hear stories. We would change names if you need to.
Yeah.
Just give us clearance if we can use any name.
Yeah,
but,
got clearance.
Yeah.
The Birds and the Bees section. So what we're looking to do is bring on guest, anybody. If you would like to tell your nightmare X story.
Yeah.
Or... it doesn't have to be a nightmare, just like a real story about an ex that you just are like bullshit about. Okay, so, but here's the caveat that we want to introduce.
What's up?
We want to give the ex, if it's possible, it's not always possible. The rebuttal, the opportunity to come on after you've come on, told your side of the story, them to tell their side of the story. So that we think that, would be kind of cool to hear. I mean. But of course, if you're going if you're in shadow, because if you don't want to disclose who you are and your name, we can give it a different name, and we could put you in shadow, and you could tell your story.
Exactly.
And
like Gangland.
Right, like Gangland. But your ex could say, "Well, I don't want to be in shadow. I want to disclose who I am and my ex is." So this could be kind of tricky, but we could sort it out and try to please everyone.
We have a lot of different things.
So I
planned ahead.
Do you have any ex stories? Like, that's our Birds and the Bees section. So, like, do you have any ex stories?
Off the top, I mean, I had, what's it called? BDSM?
BDSM?
Yeah, is that like that?
It's like,
when
what
they
is
go crazy?
BDSM?
I don't know.
What is BDSM? Can we get clarification on what? I thought that was like
it's a sex thing.
Sex thing, yeah.
It's a sex
like,
thing. I had someone like
BDSM. This is so stupid that I haven't heard of this.
Yeah,
I know I've heard of it because
erotic practices, a variety of often erotic practices and role playing involving bondage,
dominance,
Okay.
Yes. Dominatrix and submission. Somebody want to choke you out?
No, someone.
You like being choked?
To choke
they
them
wanted
out.
you to choke him out.
And it was just like,
you didn't want to do it. You didn't want to choke
bondage and discipline.
You didn't want to.
Dominance and submission.
Don't you like to be choked? You don't like to be choked? Is that?
Like
Mama Julia likes to choke. I like to be choked.
I don't mind being choked.
Just a little bit. Just a little chokey choke. A little chokey choke.
Yeah. I mean, it depends how much liquor I have.
That could be dangerous.
I'm very shy.
It could be a. I mean, it's happened.
It's
it's happened. They choke them out.
She sent me like this link, right? And it was like a test to see the level
of your BDSM status. And
I got a high
level. So I should have known what BDSM.
Oh snap!
Snap. Yeah, I should know more about that. I was a phone sex operator. Back in the day.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I did it for
you have a story about
Hit
that.
House magazine. You want to hear a really funny story? Well, I don't know if I should tell this one. I can't.
We can always have
we can always
to be continued.
No. All right.
It's
so
up
yeah.
to you.
How I got into it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. This is an ex story.
Okay.
So I was married. In the Navy.
All right.
And I had gone. I can't believe I'm telling this story. Why not? It's the first episode. Let's get off the rip.
Let's do it.
It's Birds in the Bee section. So I was in the Navy, and I was sent away. I think I went to San Diego. I don't even remember where, but they sent me away to some school for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So my husband at the time had to stay home, and I came home, and stuff started coming in the mail from this, like, I could tell, like, it was weird because it was kind of like, it was a service, but it was trying to be not disclose the type of service. So it was mail trying to be discreet about a bill.
So basically, to get the clientele, you sent out fake mail.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. I'm trying to follow.
My ex-husband clearly called and had phone sex.
Oh.
And so he was getting the bill, and it came up under something else.
Oh, the bill was
because
disclosed.
The bill was trying to be discreet.
Oh, discreet. Sorry, yes.
Right? Because they want to be discreet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I smelled a fucking rat. I was like, this is bullshit. So I called the number, and it was phone sex. It was Penthouse, actually. It was in one of the Playboy magazines.
Was that like in the 90s?
It was in the early 2000s.
Okay, I feel like that was big. There was a movie about like a phone sex operator, like Spike Lee made.
Yeah. I love that movie. So
you would call girl what, number 7?
I was call girl numero uno.
Ooh, numero
so what
uno.
I did. So here's what I did. So instead of being a normal wife and saying, "What the fuck? This is bullshit. I was in San Diego. You could have called me. I would have rocked your world because I have a sexy voice and I know what the fuck to do." And I feel
like what you should have did. You should have called him on like a block number in the sex operator voice, and like I just fell in love with it.
Right. So, my name's Ginger. So this is what I did. You want to hear what I did?
What's going on?
Mm-hmm. I called the number. I found out what it was, and then I said, "How does somebody get a job here?" Because I thought, oh. So he's okay with calling someone else for some phone sex, but not me, which I would have rocked his world.
So you actually went outside the box with my
I went outside the box, and I said, I'm going to teach him a lesson. So I applied for the job, and it was an audition. It was a voice audition. Okay. That's right. And I passed, of course, and I got the job. And when I was in the Navy, I'd come home after the kids went to bed. I'd go in my room, and I got the headset that they told me to get. I mean, I went above and beyond.
Be all quiet at night. All you hear is this. and then you tiptoe into the house.
My name is Natalie. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I learned a lot. I lasted 1 year and 3 months. I finally got fired after 1 year and 3 months.
How did you get fired?
Because when you fall asleep more than 3 times in 1 month, it wasn't because I wasn't good. I was good.
Falling asleep is crazy.
Listen, I was working in the Navy. I was in the Navy. So my day job was in the Navy, and I was grinding in the Navy.
I feel it.
And then I'd put the kids to bed, and then I'd work like 5 hours at night. So I was getting...
you already got fired. How much were you getting paid? Sorry.
Let me tell you, that's the crazy thing. I was getting paid like $18, $19 an hour in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was great money
in the early
time.
2000s.
Awesome money. At that
and it
time.
was full medical, full dental. If I decided to go full time, but I didn't because I was in the Navy. And if you kept a percentage of your callers on for the length of the call, because you got cut off after like 20 minutes.
And then they paid you per minute, right?
They paid you.
I remember that.
Call
me now, Miss Cleo.
I would get like an extra $100 a week bonus.
Okay.
I always made my bonus. Okay. Because I always made my bonus.
You was freaking.
I was I did, and I learned a lot. I got to tell you, it was a really good. I'm going to tell you, it was a really good psychological endeavor. Because I learned so much about it. Was very enlightening. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there was times. I will tell you this.
What's up?
I had numb lips all the time because I was constantly heavily breathing. Heavy breathing. Yeah.
Sorry.
But
my mind was, why do you have numb lips?
So let me tell you, right?
On the phone, were you meeting up? Sorry.
So my point was, the whole point of the story was, it kind of backfired. Okay. So my ex, he's an ex-husband now, but my husband at the time loved that I was doing it. And he was like, can I listen in? Like if a girl calls, can I listen in? He wanted to listen in. And girls rarely called. I mean phone sex is really for men.
Was always like
it was always a straight girl.
It
was always a straight girl that called.
To this day, anyway.
And was vicarious. Like, by the time I was done with him, they were no longer vicarious. They were straight lesbian. No, I'm just kidding.
You were good at your job.
I was good at my job. Yeah, but it was very interesting.
When you were awake.
When I was awake.
I get it.
I did fall asleep. Oh, you know what? I do remember that month. It was really tough. I was working a lot and doing a lot with the kids, and I just was exhausted.
I mean, but it was good money. You were doing it for a year and three
months. Yeah,
I
lasted.
Like that's a lot of time.
I lasted, yeah.
And what were you working like a full time schedule? You said you were going.
I was full time for the Navy.
Sorry. I knew you were doing full time for the Navy, and you said 5 hours.
No,
at night.
it's about 5 hours.
So were you doing 5 days a week, 7 days a week?
I was doing 5 days a week.
Oh yeah. So sorry.
So I was exhausted.
I was equating full time as in days, not like 40 hours.
No.
You're doing like a full week of this.
No,
like a full work week of phone sex.
Phone sex.
Which is insane to me.
Yeah, no. I wasn't that crazy. So, but
it's like,
it did
how
backfire.
Dating
I will say
apps
that.
are now when you match
that.
with someone and then they just want to do phone sex. And it's like, no, I don't get paid for this.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I'm more of a real thing type of person anyway. Like, I'm not about to like.
Yeah, I'm tangible. You need to be there. I need to touch
exactly.
you. I
like
feel
that.
you.
Like what are we doing?
Like
what are we
doing?
talking
like
about
I could,
here?
I could.
And then this one girl, it's like, oh, you're at work. Oh, go to the bathroom. Like, no, I'm not even in the mood to be at work. And then you want me to do what? Craziness.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's a wild world in the dating pool. The dating pool had piss in it since day one. Listen, and any new person that comes in,
it has a lot of piss in
it a little bit.
Yeah, has a lot of piss in it.
If they believe in it or not, it's. Yeah. I mean, listen. It's like, and then it's like I remember the era like, girls just wanted to be sluts and whores, and it was like, okay, cool, great.
What era was this? The beginning of time.
Was Eve a slut? Is the question.
Was Adam a slut? But you know what? Here's the thing.
I think honestly, who bit the apple first? I think that was the bigger slut.
Okay, then. Didn't Eve bite it? Eve bit the apple first.
I think she bit the apple.
I think she bit the apple first.
So Eve was the original slut, but we're all sluts. See that meme? Have you seen that meme?
No.
So there was a meme like years ago, and it was like girls. They were doing like a protest, and it was like, I'm a slut. And this old black dude's like, so you're a slut. I think he was a reporter, but he was trying to make the girl feel bad for calling herself a slut. And she didn't. And she didn't take the bait. She's like, yes, I'm a slut. We're all sluts. You're a slut. And then he like, so is your mother a slut? Are you a slut?
I've seen it.
She's like, your mama's a slut. My mama's a slut.
We're all sluts.
And so I think we're all sluts.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, sex.
And then whatever Amber Rose in 21 had said, I'm a hoe too. Sorry to cut you off, baby.
Amber Rose?
Yeah, Amber Rose was doing a little thing a couple years ago.
So,
What's up?
Yeah, I did learn a lot with the phone sex about men, and
I was gonna say.
So I learned a lot about fetishes, and it's interesting.
I was gonna ask. Sorry, do you equate what you experienced with phone sex with that Mel Gibson movie "What Women Want"? Like, were you in a sense getting in the mind?
I was getting in the mind. Yes, absolutely. Here's why. Here's why. Because when men call those lines and talk to another woman and it's phone sex, and it's a complete stranger, and they have it in their, it's whisper calls. Okay, so when I'm on the line, no. Let me explain that. Okay, so when I have my headset on and I'm waiting, I'll get a recording, and it'll say black and voluptuous. So I know that I have to. That's why it's called phone actress. That's why phone sex operators are called phone actresses.
Oh, so you're never going to be listed as a phone sex.
You cannot use your real name. You cannot ever say you're under the age of 18.
Of course.
And you cannot stimulate that you're doing any kind of drugs or having sex with animals. Bestiality, all illegal federally. All illegal.
I would hope bestiality is illegal.
Well, I had a woman that would call me regularly, and she insisted on trying to share her story with me about her sexual love affair that she's having with her German Shepherd. And I would say to her, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. You can't tell me. I can't. So, I would, and it pained me because I would have to tell her, like, you can't talk to me about this. I can't.
It would pain you.
Because I'm going to tell you, I was curious. Like, how does that work?
I was going to say, I ain't going to lie.
Like, my
first question when you said her
how does that work?
with German Shepherd.
And let me tell you something. And then she goes, "Oh, he does me doggy style," and I would be like, I can't listen to this, lady. We are not allowed to talk. There was no crickets. I was like,
That's how I feel.
And Jamal, let me tell you, what's going on in my head when I would talk to this woman. Doesn't that dog's paws scratch your back up doing you doggy style? That's what I wanted to ask her. However, I never could. I just couldn't. I couldn't ask her because I didn't want to.
There's a lot.
I didn't want to lose my
lost
my job anyway. But
and I think
was happy
like,
at the time.
You
to lose
know,
it.
places where like hotlines like that, Facebook, Twitter gave the green light to just all weird shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't safely scroll down Twitter page.
Wow.
You can't safely do that at all.
Without
seeing some shit.
Here's the one thing, and it still miffs me.
What?
The calls that I would get for the same thing, and it was always, I'm a Spanish woman.
Okay. I noticed.
I'm a Spanish woman. But every call I got that had a fetish of shit, taking shit,
that was
rubbing
like a
it
major
all over their
thing.
chest.
Is that still a thing? Shitting?
I don't think it's
comment
no
if
longer
shitting
a
on
thing.
chest is a thing.
Yes.
And then we're going
They were
to
always,
report you
never one
to
was it,
YouTube.
But Jamal, never one was it a non-Spanish man. It was always a Spanish man.
What?
That wanted me to shit. Hey,
that's what
mommy.
they do?
Yeah, they always wanted me to simulate
well,
that I
there was a thing growing up that all Spanish women like it up the ass. I don't know how true that is.
It's Puerto Rican women? That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard
Not
Puerto
all
Rican
Spanish
men
women.
love
I don't want
doing it
to.
up.
I don't want to box all Spanish women.
Yeah, because hello, I'm Spanish. Hello. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm Peruvian. I'm Peruvian Scottish.
Can I ask you a
Irish.
question?
Yeah,
And
what's
this is,
that? Talk to me.
Do you eat guinea pig?
Cuy.
It's called cuy.
It's called cuy. And
so how do you prepare cuy? Like if you're
with garlic and butter. With garlic and butter.
It's
I
not
do not
garlic
know.
bread. This is a
no.
squirrel.
Okay,
Sorry,
so the last time I was in Peru, I would see the signs for it, but not in Lima. When I went to Cusco, you would see signs for it because in Lima, like downtown in Lima, they don't do it. There's no cuy going on over there. If there is, nobody's really talking about it. Now in Cusco, Peru, there were I saw signs everywhere for cuy. Yeah, I didn't have it. I did have llama.
What's
llama?
llama?
I had llama steak. I felt bad, but it was delicious.
What was the consistency of this llama?
Llama? It was just like a steak.
So you was over here eating Emperor's New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove, yeah.
Okay.
Walk like it. A llama.
Shout out to David Spade,
Yeah. So
did you know like David
how
Spade
did we go
was,
from
like,
shitting on chest to cuy?
To cuy.
Yeah.
Well,
are we still in the birds and the bees section? You got any more
we're
sex?
Oh yeah, we went but that's how the podcast is.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
We're gonna have we represent the ADD and the ADHD folks out here. Like,
super.
Come holler at us.
I've got all those. I've got PTSD, ADD, ADHD. I got all the D's.
And anxiety.
You know my favorite D. But the only thing I
it.
don't have right now is D.
I
need some
P.
D.
Well,
I got my P.
Mama Julia is looking, ladies and gentlemen, so holler at her in the email. But remember, 2 eyes see these emails.
Okay.
Yeah. 4 eyes, sorry. I don't want y'all thinking just her 2 eyes. Two sets of eyes.
Oh yeah, come on, no.
So.
Bring it in the email. Jamal can handle it.
No.
And don't delete my emails.
You know what's funny? Some drunk guy yesterday was like, "Oh, are you gonna send me nude pictures?" I was like, "What?"
Some drunk guy said that to you?
Yeah, it was random. It was sorry.
Where were you?
Out of context. So
yeah,
I was at my job, and some drunk guy fell on the sidewalk and bumped his head like Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
Humpty Dumpty. Sorry, shout out to Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
But the dude helping him.
Yeah.
And then the girl that was with him.
Yeah.
We ended up talking, and then I was talking to the girl.
Yeah.
And he was making a joke about because me and the girl exchanged Instagrams.
Ooh.
And he made a joke, was like, "Oh, can you get my Instagram and send me nudes?" And I was like, "Oh, what?" Like, I knew he was joking, but it just threw me off guard because I was like, "All right."
That is funny.
But that was too funny though.
That is funny. Yeah, it's a different world we live in today.
No, I love people who are can take a joke, or are still human. It's like life is serious, but it doesn't have to be that
especially
serious.
in this political climate. In this political climate today, It's like.
So, if you don't mind me asking, and if you don't mind telling the world, dun dun dun,
dun dun dun.
Who are you voting for?
Who am I voting for? Okay, so this. It's tough because I'm not happy with Kamala.
Okay.
I'm not crazy about Trump, but I definitely am not happy with Kamala. I'm like,
has Kamala been making any plans to give us that little $1,500 a month? That little stipend?
That's
little,
is that your only concern?
No, the stimmy.
Is that the stimmy?
That's what we call it.
I didn't know. I haven't even heard about that.
How long has it been?
I didn't know.
4 years
I don't know.
since the stimmy.
Biden
didn't do it.
Biden didn't give us the stimmy. We need more than a stimmy. We need groceries to go down. We need cost of living. We live in the Boston area. Okay. What does one single person have to make in the Boston area to live comfortably? It's like 120 a year.
I seen. Well, I don't know the exact dollar amount. I can guesstimate, but I know you have to make 3 times the rent to rent out stuff.
3 times the rent.
Okay. And then on top of that, you're also living. You're also potentially have family and kids. Like, right. I'm a single guy with no kids, so I don't work. So I worry about what I make, of course.
Yeah.
But I have less worries.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, I don't know really who.
So who are you voting for?
So
I'm right now leaning towards.
That's what I was gonna get right into.
Yeah,
no one really affected me. Honestly, Trump didn't affect me.
Yeah.
Biden, while he's in office, didn't affect me. And unless someone can enlighten me how he affected me, cool. But I don't, even down to
I think
Clinton
Biden.
And Bush
I think they affect. We live in the Boston area.
Okay. So how?
All right. Let me give you an example. At my job, I don't want to disclose too much, but I was making a phone call trying to find a hotel room for a homeless veteran because we will do that. And the hotel that I was working with previously, that always provided and let us put our veterans in there, said no. We cannot. No, we don't have anything for you. We have to put up the migrants first. They take priority. So my homeless female, single parent, homeless veteran, disabled veteran, by the way, I had to tell her
doesn't have priority in the United States soil.
Nope. They no. So I couldn't put her in a hotel, and I felt horrible. So I had to make a ton of phone. It was a very frustrating day. So they said,
if you mind me asking, what?
It was a hotel on Route 1 in Saugus.
Wow.
So so those policies do affect me.
Okay.
Here's the thing: I see it because of my job, and so and
that's why I need.
So when I go back home to Illinois, like my daughter, my family, I'm from Southern Illinois, originally, but I've been here for years. And when I go back home, I could see that they don't see.
Is it like
what
a red
we see.
or blue state? Is that?
Well, I don't know, but
it's
interesting.
One of those mixed states.
It's interesting. I think it's a little, but they're
not
more
mixed, like 50,
they're
50
more.
States, I think they call it.
I think they're more Republican. I think they're more Republican.
Sense.
But they don't see what I see. So when I run into people who they just don't, I'm like you
exactly.
Depending on where you live, you're not going to feel. Some people are going to feel it, and some people aren't. Like
that's my thing. It's like. Certain people are going to be affected by whoever's in the office, and it's like
you are.
I haven't been affected
that you know of.
That I know of.
Yeah, you may not even be aware.
I still granted, whatever. I still work.
Yeah.
I still put gas on my car. I still have to pay bills. I still have to eat. I still have to somewhat enjoy myself.
Right.
Some decisions I made may affect it. Doing some of those things, but not whoever's sitting in that White House in D.C. And that's again, it's like, I hear, a lot of bad about Kamala, and everybody says
I hear bad about both. I mean,
exactly. Everybody says everything bad about Trump, but I feel like that's what politics is. There's always going to be some good or bad. How many times I've heard the term "lesser of the evils" for the last 16 years.
Yeah. I know.
Or maybe is that something that is what comes with the election.
I never heard that growing up when
exactly.
I was a kid.
I never heard that growing up.
No.
I've heard that, 16 is exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's
the last, 12 years.
I would say 12 years. Yeah, definitely.
And it's like crazy.
Yeah, I've never heard that growing up. That was not a thing. Not that I can, speak to.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest with you.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you.
To be honest.
We do have somebody in our audience that writes a lot of political articles, but we could just tell you, like,
I would love to
listen,
get his point
I
of view.
agree to disagree with him all the time because there's a lot of views he has that I'm just like, oh no, we don't jive. Can I say your name?
See my hand? Sorry, my fault.
Can I say your name? No?
No, he can be a character too. His name is Mr. Walters.
Are you Mr. Walters?
I don't know. I didn't even. Oh, what side? Going around this way?
Yeah, don't trip.
Take a seat, brother.
And I'm going to tell you.
Our first guest.
Our first guest, yeah. So he is.
This on, or?
Yeah, throw it on. We are talking politics. And we know you have very strong opinions. We're both on the fence. I mean.
You guys on the fence?
No, I know you're not.
I am.
I know
you're
you're not.
And I feel like us being somewhat similar but also very different, you can enlighten me. And that's what I'm all about is hearing the point of view.
What is your point of view?
Yes, I would love to see.
Mr. Walters.
If you don't mind telling our crowd, our people.
Anything about yourself.
All the bad Samaritans out there, who you would potentially vote for.
And why.
In a couple weeks. And why.
Well, I'm an America First guy.
Okay.
So, I think that when you have a political discussion with anybody, right, you should ask them what's your core beliefs.
Okay.
See, that's how you know when you could have a high IQ conversation about politics. Mm-hmm. See, low IQ conversations about politics is when people don't have core beliefs. They don't believe in anything.
Correct.
And that's when you start debating the TV.
Got it. So what is your core belief, sir? Because I would like to dive into this. And again, I want a very honest and open answer. Thank you.
I'm an economic nationalist. I break my political ideology down in 3 pots, right? So economic nationalism, what is that? That just pretty much means that I believe that Americans should produce American products, right?
I agree.
You mentioned you were born in 92, right?
Yes, sir.
I was born in 95.
Oh, wow.
There was a gentleman named Bill Clinton who was president during that time.
That guy.
And there was a Republican Congress, right? So this is why, as I break down my tenets, I always say that both parties are the enemies of the American people because they passed something called NAFTA. And what NAFTA did was it really destroyed our industries. They also passed something called the China Trade Act, which allowed China.
This was in the 90s.
So if you don't mind me interrupting, is that why we always have made in China on our thing? Okay.
Absolutely.
Brother. See, I'm with you.
It destroyed 60,000 factory jobs and 5 million, and 60,000 factories and 5 million factory jobs. And, I know I was listening to you guys talking about the cost of living.
Yes.
See, they destroyed our opportunities to actually live the American dream. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there was once upon a time where you could work in a factory, have a high school education, your wife could stay home, and you would have enough money to own a house and take care of all your children.
Well, that is what Compton is now. Before all those factories went away in Compton, those were a lot of black families living beautiful lives as middle-class lives. One father working in the factory, mom staying home, kids going to school, going to college. This was in the 50s and the 60s. And then those factories in Compton all went away.
Yep.
Wow.
And then Compton became what it is now.
Same thing with Detroit.
And a lot of people just don't realize that.
They don't understand that.
They don't understand. These black families had the dream, and they were providing for their families.
That makes sense.
And then those factories went away. So that reminds me of that.
So
it affected Compton.
Yeah. So economic nationalism is so important to me.
Okay.
Because I don't even think it's smart for us to be relying on China or other countries.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For our needs. I mean, my second part is
pharmaceuticals.
Well, yeah, they say that's debated now, but they say we're getting materials from China for our pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
But it's like my second part is isolationism. And what that means is I don't believe that we should be involved in wars in other countries.
I absolutely agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been at war our whole lives.
Literally.
Yeah.
Since birth.
Julia, when was Desert Storm? You remember that?
Yeah, the 90s.
You were in the Navy during that time, right?
I was, yeah.
Yeah. So we were involved in Desert Storm, the war in
Operation
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Freedom, yeah.
Well, now we're involved in Ukraine. I mean,
we're like trying to be like the big brother that these other countries call. It seems like to me, in my opinion.
And we look at Latin America. We were so obsessed about regime change that we completely destabilized Latin America. And that gets into my third point, which is immigration. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have an immigration problem because of our activities.
We have a huge immigration
problem. Well, I think that where I stand on immigration, even though my parents are immigrants and they came in the right way in my family, I still do believe that we should have a reduction in legal immigration. And let me explain what I mean by that. I think that what we're seeing right now, and unfortunately we're seeing it from both Trump and Harris, is like, we're bringing in a lot of Indians to do Silicon Valley tech jobs. And that's what I mean by reduction in immigration. We need that. Americans should be trained to do those jobs. So look at us. We're going from another form of globalism. And globalism is, like we mentioned, we talk about trade protectionism, and we talked about how globalism pretty much is like, hey, we're the world's global economy. So we're going into another form of globalism with immigration, where it's like, we're now going to rely on India for personnel and people to come to America and work jobs that Americans should be having the educational opportunities to take on. And then obviously on the illegal immigration, I think that's cut and dry. I think that we have a system for a reason, and I just don't think it's even fiscally possible. You look at New York. New York's going to go bankrupt in a few years. These are big liberal cities. We live in a big liberal city in a state.
New York is looking and feeling like a third world country.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
And feeling and looking at the same time. And it's
that's,
funny because you're kind of
driving down there soon.
You're putting kind of the words to my thoughts. Like, I agree with literally everything you're saying. Like, I've always said this. Like, that was the joke. We're in the same era growing up.
Right.
Like, damn, why is everything made in China?
Yeah.
Like, as kids, we didn't kind of think of the aspect and the magnitude of that, but it's like not
why that started,
nothing.
What policies were created to create that.
Yeah, and it's not even so the Democrats with Bill Clinton was the one pushing that bill, but it took a Republican Congress to say yes, we want to do this. So both parties screwed us on that matter, and I think that it's a huge problem, and we need to protect our trade. We need to have tariffs. We need to bring back industry. So if you ask me who I'm aligning with, I think that obviously. I think when President Trump came out in 2016, he was selling the America First vision.
Yep.
I think when he got in the White House, we didn't really get to see the America First vision.
Right.
There was a lot of sabotage. There was a lot of,
I think he needed more time.
I think he needed better personnel.
Oh, yes.
It was a personnel problem. Okay. I think they accomplished something. So they accomplished they had a phase 1 China trade deal.
Do you think if he comes in office second time around, he'll do things differently? Like, do you think he'll figure it out?
Or
I don't. I think that, right? And I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I think that the American people need to be warned. Whoever is going to be the president, we're heading for a third world war. We're heading for tough times.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's going to be in there. I think that obviously we look at competence. I think that this decision is about competence. I think we had 4 years of Biden. We had 4 years of Harris. When we had 4 years, because
you think we had 4 years of Obama?
And I don't know. I don't know who's running the country, honestly. But we had 4 years of each, and I could tell you that we could look and do a compare and contrast, and we could say, okay, there was one person that was more competent in the handling of the world than the other. And handling of American affairs. I mean, with Trump, we were going to close the China trade deficit by over 50% with the Phase 1 China Trade Act, which said you all have to buy $200 billion worth of goods and services from the United States of America. So we got out of NAFTA with the USMCA trade agreement. I think that on the neocon front, which neocons are the people who want war, and they're like the Nikki Haleys, the George Bushes. I mean, Barack Obama was a huge neocon.
Yeah, war is a business.
So we didn't have foreign conflict with him. And we weren't interested. We were telling Zelensky, listen, dude, sit down with Putin, figure it out. We were saying to China, figure it out with Taiwan. But listen, we have a red line. You look at Taiwan. The thing that disgusts me the most about Taiwan is I don't really care about their independence. And I know some people will be offended by it, but it's the truth. I don't really care about your beef with China. But the problem is China goes in there, your car is not going to be able to work no more. We're not going to get cars. We're not going to get TVs. We're not going to get phones. Everything that relies on a chip. And we ask ourselves, well, why the hell did we allow for that industry to even get outsourced
why did we
over
let
there?
that start that
so
way?
now Americans have to die, and money has to be spent to defend them, to defend something that we could have been doing in our own country. Right. So I think when it comes down to it, I think that the American people have to wake up and realize we're going to have a huge war. I mean, I think Israel is going for it all. Okay. They're going to, once they
Israel's not backing down.
Once they retaliate against Iran, it's going to be a regional conflict. Xi Jinping told the Chinese military, get ready. They had a military drill on Taiwan. Even Putin's going to be like, you know what, Europe? I got something special for you. So we're going to be going into some tough times. The economy's going to be bad. We're going to be at war. And
wow.
So are we going?
Wow, Mr. Walters. Well, thank you for that.
No,
you know, it's
I hear you. I hear you.
So do you believe that, you know, are we going to be in like worse than the recession period? Or?
It's going to be worse than the Great Depression.
Oh.
We're talking the stock. As soon as World War, see, Iran, and I'm not trying to be vulgar, but there's a term they say edging, right? Iran edged the whole world. And the stock markets were crashing. Do you guys remember that a month or two ago? The stock market is going to crash. People are going to lose their 401ks once we go to war. It's a very bad situation. Okay. And it's you know, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to get in there and stop it." There's no stopping it. But it's a very grim situation we have as a country, and I think that, you know, obviously surviving it, we got to reevaluate our political system. We got to reevaluate the whole idea of a Democrat and a Republican. We got to reevaluate who's running the country because they brought us to this point.
Yeah.
They brought us to the level, to the destruction that we're going to face as a country.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
No, that was awesome, bro. No, that was actually, you exceeded everything.
These conversations are good and they're necessary. And what I hate, okay, let me just tell you what I hate. When I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see this super insane liberal trying to have a conversation with someone on the other side, and it's usually a teenager, like a 19, 20-year-old, and they're just like, not. I feel like you can't really have a conversation with these young kids
who can't vote. I really don't think they're in the room.
They're 18 or older, and
but there are older people that behave like that too.
It's no matter what side they're on. It's like I feel like though it's the liberal ones.
Yeah, no, they're worse.
You cannot have a conversation. You cannot just say agree to disagree. Like
no,
you can't have a conversation.
But you know, that's why
they like start screaming.
America first is so important because it's putting America first, which is nonpartisan. And you know, I always make the joke like I'm a conservative, I guess. I don't align really. The Republican Party is shown.
I definitely think you're a conservative.
Yeah, I am in the sense of the conservative value of God, family, country. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But as in the Republican Party doesn't accept people like me. They don't like people like me because I'm talking.
But neither does the Democrat.
No, exactly. Because I'm talking about a system that they have created. It's destroying our country, and I think that you know that's why they feared Trump so much in 2016. Yeah. But they wisely were like, all right, let's get our people in there and veer him off course. And I think that's going to be the same strategy this go around. Veer him off course.
Wow.
Literally.
You know, but I think
believe it.
In closing, you know, to those who are voting, I think that, like I mentioned earlier, every American should have core beliefs. And I may disagree with some people's core beliefs, but you have to have some type of core belief, and you need to vote for a person based on your core belief. I am voting Trump, obviously, because he aligns, even if it's 1%, with my America First ideology. Yeah. And that's kind of the vote. But I think that, you know, in the future, we got to have to make people earn our votes based on our core beliefs, and people need to start building core beliefs.
Like, I think people are voting because I think there's a lot of people out there voting just for Kamala because she's a female.
Yep.
There's a lot of people voting for Trump.
Yeah.
Because you know, for whatever reason, but I see people voting
for the wrong reason.
For the wrong reason.
Yes.
So and they don't really understand
So
policy.
my point of view is like growing up, it was black people are Democrats and white people are Republicans.
Yeah.
That's the world.
Well, that's definitely changed.
Yes. Of course.
That's definitely changed.
Of course. Again, this is
I mean, even the polls right now.
30 years ago, I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's
and the ideology that a lot of people in my culture had. as I moved and as I grew older, and okay, that was just dumb logic. A lot of people voted for, again, core beliefs.
Yeah.
And then what you just said.
Yeah.
Oh, Obama's black. I'm going to vote because he's black.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to, vote Trump because he said, make America great again.
Yeah.
Or again, now, well, we need a woman in the White House now, so I'm going to vote Harris. So, yeah, we're going to, we developed in to just the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
And it wasn't like before where it was, well, my mom and dad are Democrats, so I'm a Democrat.
Right.
I had these conversations.
Core belief, like what? Yeah,
And that's
what
awesome.
matters?
I'm
What
glad
matters
you broke
to
that down
Right.
because a lot of people don't know how to put that in words, and I'm so glad that you actually got that to put in words because everything you said was like, wait, I agree with that. Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
it's
okay,
just common sense.
Exactly, literally,
And it just benefits the country. I think that's what we should want.
Yeah.
Is
it's
wherever
really
you live.
how to make America great again.
Yeah. Yeah, typically.
Ooh,
Where's Tommy?
that's
Tommy
the
does
title
a
of the show.
great Trump.
Right.
You're hilarious. So, okay, well, let's wrap it up. And this
Mr.
is
Walters, I appreciate you
this
for
is
real.
it. Thank you for
That
Thank
was
you guys.
actually even
yeah.
greater.
We weren't
You-
even planning on
He
you
will
being
be
on it.
a
Yeah,
recurring guest on
yeah,
the
you wanna
show
be a
for
recurring
sure.
guest?
I was checking you guys out,
listen,
and I love
some other stuff. I want to hear about how you feel about